2 minutes. Want you to kneel down, stand back up when you get back. But make sure you get something to drink, a glass of water, or beer, whatever you want. But more importantly, grab yourself a notepad, pencil, or pen. Because yes, there will be important things that I will say, and also Sergeant McCoy will say these next 4 days uh, that are important, that need to be written down. Also, at the end of day 4, not only do we have a FTX, the field training exercise, which is part of your graduation, there will be a open note quiz. So, in order you pass that, or have a high chance of passing, I would suggest taking accurate notes. So, go get that, kneel down. If you don't have it, stand back up when you get a piece of paper and all that good stuff.
Roger.
I'm all good stuff, Sergeant.
Excellent.
One thing, can I make a request in particularly through OSUT with you?
Sure.
If I make any mistakes comms-wise, are you able to pick me up on it? Because I'm hoping to go Havoc 3 Romeo.
Copy that. Man's already got his eyes set on something.
You're the one Hardman told me about.
Oh, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad. I don't know whether that's good or bad that he's told me. Told you about him.
Well, I don't know. How do you fellow Aussies like each other?
Oh, I'm pretty good with other Aussies.
Okay, so
I hear they all think they're a bunch of cunts. Quote Sergeant Owens on that one.
All right. Let's get into the good stuff here. All right, gentlemen. So, like a little question here I like to ask in this little orientation here. Which could be both of y'all, but do any of y'all plan on having some kind of leadership role in the unit? Whether it be fire team leader, squad leader?
Yes.
Don't have to be right away, just something in the future.
Possibly. Get my feet wet first, though.
Alright. Nothing wrong with having ambitions. But, reason why I asked that is, obviously with leadership in that aspect, comes responsibility, but also, quote-unquote, power that can be used for good or bad. I know it make it sound like a fucking superhero fucking thing, but everybody's here for the same reason. We either active, retired, or just civilian that, you know, like that aspect of the military. Well, being in a leadership billet, having people in your charge, that you're leading them, you know, you have the say so, you know, that's the whole role-playing aspect of this. So don't abuse the power. You know, in any kind of leadership position, respect is earned, not given. So the same thing happens here. You know, you need to earn that shit from your guys. Don't ask them to do anything you would not do yourself. If you have a crazy idea of charging across open fucking field, you better not hang back and tell your guys to go across that. You better be right there with them, running through that shit. Something that doesn't really apply to this, but in real life military leadership, it sure does. You know, making sure you welfare your guys. You're coming off a fucking nice little march, and they're coming back to chow. You know, let your guys fucking eat first. You know, make sure they got full bellies. Then you go and get your fucking your dinner. You know, small shit like that might seem superficial to a lot of people, but it means a lot to your guys. Um, you know, they take trust into you with certain things. You know, don't abuse that trust. If it's a A/B conversation, you know, don't share it with anybody. Just try to be an upstanding leader. We have a lot of upstanding people here. We're lucky to have that. So keep that in mind. So we're gonna be going over a lot of information here. Myself, Sergeant McCoy, or whoever else here that might be teaching. Every once in a while, we're gonna ask, "Are you tracking? Do you understand? Do you have a question?" Just a simple yes, no, yes, Sergeant, no, Sergeant, affirm, I'm tracking. Anything but a yeah will suffice. Just don't let the crickets chirp in the room when either of us ask if you understand, if you have questions. Just a simple yes or no if that is too much. All right, we're gonna move it into the classroom. We're gonna first go over communication. When you enter the classroom, there will be a box on the left-hand side. Grab one radio out of the box, put it in the spot for your radio. Sit next to each other, take the seats in front of class, and we will begin our communication part. Now, classroom is going to be the dome on the left over there, gentlemen. Yep. Oh, sorry. Right over there. So y'all can fall out. Get over there. Make sure you remove your soft covers, stow them away before you get inside. All right, gentlemen. Excellent. All right. I'm going to say this again about a half dozen times, hoping that it bleeds through. But for the love of God, communicate, 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 and communicate with your fellow squad mates, battle buddy, guys in your fire team, Mike, your squad leader. Communicate. Don't stay silent. The small things do matter. Now, before we can really go over communication, I need to describe how a rifle squad is, what it is made up of. So in a rifle squad, you have 10 soldiers. You have a squad leader, squad medic, and then you have 2 fire teams. Each fire team has 4 men to it. In the fire team, you will have a team lead an AR, a grenadier, and rifleman. So each fire team looks the same. The only thing different is the riflemen's carry 2 different ATs. But we'll go over that a little bit later. So right there you got 10 guys. 8 guys that actually are made up of the 2 fire teams, squad leader, squad mate. Now, we call them Alpha and Bravo fire teams. So just for example here, Alpha fire team has 4 members. They have their own frequency that they transmit over and talk with each other. Bravo example has their own frequency that they transmit and communicate over. So right there you have 4 men, and for example, Alpha fire team that have a frequency that they can talk on to each other. Now, might seem okay, but when shit's hitting the fan, even 4 people can make a frequency congested. That's why there's need to be, or there has to be, brevity when you are transmitting or using a 2-way radio. Now what that means is you need to get out the important information and as few words as possible. Now, the way you do that is use what we call pro words. These words being 1 to 2 words, roughly, mean multiple words. Not all of them, but mostly. So by using pro words, it helps to shorten your transmission down. It doesn't have all these unnecessary words in it. Now, this first pro word that we're going to go over, you want to write this one down. This pro word is this is. Now, it might seem like a weird one, but that's what it is. This is. That's the pro word. This is. The way that is used is when you establish control of a frequency. In order to do that, you must first get in touch with somebody else. Now, the way you get in touch with somebody else is not just say, hey, yo, and start talking. No. There's fucking procedures and the proper way to do it. The proper way is by using the pro word this is. So an example would be if I was trying to get in touch with Sergeant McCoy, I would do this. Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, over. That is how the pro word this is used. So right there, I pressed the button on the radio, transmitted. I told the person who I am trying to contact, which is Sergeant McCoy. He heard his name. I said, Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta. So right there, he knows that I am trying to contact him. Not only does he know that, everybody else knows that, and we now established, or we will establish, control of that frequency. So that is first pro word. Very simple. Every time you key up the mic, you're going to use that pro word. This is. The next pro word is going to be over. You heard me use it at the end of that transmission. So I contacted Sergeant McCoy. Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, over. By me using over, that pro word, that tells him that I have finished transmitting and now he is cleared to transmit. And he will come back with, Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy, send your traffic over. So I contacted him, and he answered back, telling me to send my traffic, which is basically telling me to, say what I got, send the information, whatever. And after he said that, he overed it. Now, I have my turn to talk. Now, remember, as soon as that happens, when he tells me to send my traffic, we now have control of that frequency. Nobody else needs to come and butt in on that frequency. They can, if there's a very important reason to, you can. I will go over that later on, but in normal circumstances, nobody should be talking over our comms. It's a two-way radio. Not a three-way, four-way radio, it's a fucking two-way radio. So we established communication with each other. He knows who's calling him. He tells me to send my information. He overed it. Now I can come back with Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, and send my information. Obviously, after I send that information, I will over and allow him to talk one last time. If he has nothing else to say, I will use the pro word out. O-U-T. That is the next pro word, which is out. Out simply means that I have finished with I need to communicate. My transmission has ended. The easiest way to use that pro word is if the information that I need to have with, or that communication I need to have with Sergeant McCoy is finished. Me, being the person who initiated the transmission, will out the transmission. And the way I will out the transmission is as simple as Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, out. That's it. Don't need any fucking extra to it. Just be simple and brevity as possible. So that's the first three pro words. This is, over, and out. Now make sure, don't use over and out together. That's Hollywood made up bullshit. Some of the stuff they do get right. Most of the time, communication is not. They do not use over and out together. Y'all tracking so far?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Excellent. Alright, gentlemen, next pro word. Next pro word is going to be let's go with interrogative. So interrogative means you have a question or you need confirmation. The proper way to use interrogative is just like this. So obviously, you got to establish communication first, but you also want to know or let them know that you have a question or you have a need for a confirmation. So you will use interrogative just like this. Example, Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta. Interrogative over. So right there, I just told Sergeant McCoy I need to get in touch with him. It's me, and I have a question and or I need confirmation. Over. Now, that will lead me on to two pro words that I'm going to group together. So right there, I asked Sergeant McCoy, I told him interrogative over. So he knows I have a question and or confirmation. Well, these next two pro words kind of go hand in hand. First one is going to be wait over. And the next word, pro word, is wait out. Now, wait over lets that person know that you need about 30 seconds to be free. You're a little bit busy, you need about 30 seconds to get your shit situated so you can communicate. Wait out, on the other hand, means you need more than 30 seconds to get your shit straight so that you can communicate. Now, you can give 3 different answers, or let's say Sergeant McCoy could give me 3 different answers when I tell him that I got a question and or comment. He can use just the normal send your traffic or send it, telling me that he's free, that I can send my question or confirmation. He can also tell me to wait over, or he can tell me to wait out. So right there, he has 3 options that he can tell me. Now, using wait out and wait over, keep in mind, when you use wait over, you still have control of that net. You two people that are communicating, they have control of that net. Just because he told them to wait, he overed it, which means they now have control of that net. Let me finish up the next pro word and I'll give you an example. The other pro word, wait out, now means it's, that communication has ended. He can't get to the, he can't communicate at the time, so he outed that transmission. Yes, he was not the person who initiated, so that kind of goes against the rule of the person who initiated communication is the one who outs it. But for the sake of brevity, that time he will out the transmission. He will simply say, example, Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy, wait out. That's it. I know right there he's fucking busy and he don't have time to talk right now. Now, keep in mind, if you do decide to use wait over, make sure that it's not a busy time. You don't want to take up precious seconds of, comms by using wait out. excuse me, wait over. Now, you might get there in 30 seconds, but that's precious. So just the sake of everybody else in your fire team, uh, if it's that bad, it's that busy, that hectic, use wait out instead. That's situational awareness. That's just common sense type shit. Y'all tracking on those three
Yes,
pro
Sergeant.
words?
Yes, Sergeant.
Excellent.
Do you guys also post-fix a time to the end of that? So,
No.
wait one out?
No, because a time is already fixed to it. Like I said, wait over means you need roughly 30 seconds to be able to transmit, where wait out means I need more than 30 seconds. But by using wait out, it's the end of the transmission already. But it's also telling that person how busy they are. If I told somebody wait out, or somebody told me wait out, for example, I know that they're fairly busy. They can't talk right now, so I'll contact them in another, 2 minutes or so. Or if they free up, they'll contact me instead. So there's no real reason to say, to wait one. Uh, you know, it's better to use a proper pro word, because what does wait one really tell you? Okay, you wait one, but what? You haven't overed or outed that transmission, so you're kind of stuck in limbo. Make sense?
Yes, yes, Sergeant.
All right. Yeah. So if you don't use your over or your out, that's you're stuck in limbo. That person on the other side,
the pro word at the
wondering
end,
what the
but
fuck's
okay.
going on. You transmit and you don't say over. He's not going to say anything because you haven't fucking overed your transmission. He's waiting for you to finish saying what you said. And the same thing goes with out. Everybody else on the net is not going to say anything until you out your transmission. So, don't forget those pro words. All right. So the next one is a one that's going to be kind of difficult to break this habit, because we all use the word repeat a lot in our daily lives. Well, repeat is not a pro word that we use in infantry. Well, 11 Bravos per se. But it is a pro word in 11 Charlie or indirect fire or Mortarman. They use the pro word repeat. That is, repeat is used so somebody tells them to repeat fire, they're repeating their last fire mission. You can kind of see how that can be bad. If we start pushing in and clearing a place that was their last fire mission, and somehow somebody said repeat, and they hear it, and without really checking, they blindly start firing on their last fire mission, and that happens to have a squad pushing through it, that could be bad. That's blue and blue. That is fratricide, and that's fucking definitely frowned upon. So, for your benefit, I would get the word repeat out of your dictionary in your brain and put this pro word in its place. That pro word is going to be say again. So if you missed something over the radio, or you only heard half of it, first half, the last half, instead of saying, can you repeat that? You are going to say, you, this is me, obviously. Say again. And you can use it multiple ways. This pro word. You can tell them to say again all after a certain word you heard, or all before, or tell them to send. Hold on, having a tongue tie here.
Say again, last transmission.
Yeah, say again. Yep. Or tell them to say again last. I personally like to go for the third one. I like to hear the entire transmission. Because if you only heard half of it and you're telling them to send all that information from a certain word onwards, who's to say that you didn't hear the first part maybe not so correct? So, for everybody's sake, to make sure you getting that information correctly, myself personally, I like to tell them to, send all that information again. So, try to get that out your memory banks and use say again. Next pro word is going to be correct, and we'll throw wrong in with it. So you had two pro words right there, correct and wrong. Obviously, correct means, that's correct. Somebody's asking you a question or a confirmation. Tell them that's correct. Or if it's wrong, you tell them it's wrong. But keep in mind, brevity also means, don't let them question other shit. So, I sent some bad information to Sergeant McCoy, for an example, and he told me it's wrong. And he just goes, you just me, that's wrong, over. Well, that doesn't fucking help me out. Now that's wasting my time and his time, because now I got to come back with Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, what was wrong with that information, over. Instead of him just saying, Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy, so-and-so is wrong, the correct information is blah, 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 over. So not only did he catch my fuck up, he fixed my fuck up. That is fine with me. If that happened opposite way around, that would be fine for him. That goes for anybody in a unit. That time there is just like using too many words to describe something. So, something was wrong that was transmitted to you, fix it, and send that correct information back with, that it was wrong. Next pro word is going to be read back. This one is used multiple ways, but it is a good pro word to use. Now, it does take up a little more time on the radio, but it makes sure that both those people are on the same page. You get a reconfirmation of the information that you sent. Just because they say affirm or Roger or anything like that doesn't mean they heard it correctly. They might have thought they heard it correctly, but they didn't. So you're trusting that they did hear it correctly when they tell you, affirmative and all that good shit. But if you want to make sure they heard it correctly, you can tell them to read back. So the way you use that pro word, let's say, example, I send Sergeant McCoy a bunch of information, and before I over that transmission, I will tell him, read back. So it'd be, Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta, blah, 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 with the information, read back, over. Right there, he knows obviously who called him, who's calling him, the information, and he also knows that I want him to read back that information to me. And he will just simply do a Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy. You know, he'll start reading back that information I sent him. I'll tell him that's correct or wrong. If it's wrong, I'll fix it and go from there. That is one way to use the pro word readback. The other way is, let's say I sent important information to Sergeant McCoy, but I didn't ask for a readback. But him knowing that it's important information, he can say that he will, that he's going to read back. For example, would be, you know, we'll start from the top. Sergeant McCoy, this is Sergeant Margiotta. You know, send a bunch of information over. Bunch of important information over. He can now use read back this way. Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy. I read back. And he starts reading back all that important information. And then over it. And then I can tell him, yes, read back was correct or read back was wrong, and give him the proper information. So I can either, the person who is sending the information can request a read back, or the person receiving the information can read back on their own accord to double check their own ears. Y'all tracking on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yep, just a sergeant. The next pro word is going to be Wilco. Wilco is a blend of two terms, two words. It means will comply. So keep a little space for that. The Wilco means will comply. Put this next pro word beneath that. Put Roger. So let's start with Roger first. Roger means yes, I understand. I send information to Sergeant McCoy. He'll tell me, you know, this is me, Roger, over. That tells me he understands what I sent him, the information that I sent. Now, Wilco takes it a step further. Not only does Wilco tell me or means that that information was understood, just like Roger, but that you're going to act on that information. Example would be if I happen to tell Sergeant McCoy to take a fire team and go clear a building out or a set of buildings out to the southeast. If he told me just Roger, at that point, all I know is that he understood what I want him to do. That's it, period. Now, do I, you know, the question in my mind is still lingering, is he going to do it? You know, I shouldn't have to call up and ask him, okay, you understood it, now are you going to go take care of it? You know, where Wilco comes into telling me, not only did he understand the order that was given, but he is going to act on that order. So when something like that happens, he will simply say, Sergeant Margiotta, this is Sergeant McCoy, Wilco, over. So, yep, I know he understood the order I gave, and he is now going to act on that order. So, my mind's clear. Bam. That order given, I know he is taking care of it, and he'll come back with a report on that. So, those are those two pro words. Next pro word is going to be break. Think of that pro word, break, as a comma to a sentence, or a period, or whatever you want to think of it as. But a break, when you use a pro word break, it can be used two different ways. It can be used to obviously break up a transmission. So if I'm sending a lot of important information, especially something that's got a lot of numbers, like a couple of map coordinates, you can break up that transmission. So you're not just fucking blowing hot air the entire time and the other person on the other side's fucking brain's about to explode. Because the 249's fucking going off next to him, he's trying to maneuver his guys and all that shit. So break up that transmission to make it easily digested by the other person. Now, the way you properly use break will, obviously, if you're in the middle of your transmission and you feel like it's enough information that you can transit at that second, and that you need them to, give them a second to digest it, you simply say break. You release the button that transmits over the radio. Give them a second or two, and then retransmit or start transmitting again, and pick up where you left off. There's no reason to say this is me, because you never actually over or outed the transmission. All you said was break. You released the key, gave them a second, you get a second, and you press the key and start transmitting again. You can have as many breaks as you want in a transmission. Obviously, don't be fucking crazy about it, but if it's needed, use it. That's what fucking it's there for. Now, also, another way you can use the pro word break is use it as a smarter filler word than stumbling over your own words, or using a word like, or or the typical shit us humans do on a daily basis. So it can be used as a filler word to let our brain catch up with our mouth. It happens to me. I've been doing this for a fucking while. Not as much as some people, but I still get excited when shit is happening, which is good, because that means I'm not getting tired of the fucking game. So, I tend to fumble fuck sometimes, so I'll break a transmission to get my zen on, get my shit back, fucking take a deep breath, and start sending out that fucking information again. So it's better than, trying to figure out what you're gonna say while you're fucking pressing the mic down. The transmit key. Y'all tracking on that?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Excellent. All right, we're gonna go over one more pro word here. Now, this pro word, I like to save it for last. You got multiple uses. Wait, one use, but two priorities of uses. This pro word, which is break, break, break. Said 3 times. Break, break, break. It is used for when you need to interrupt somebody's transmission. You know, you don't have control of the net, but shit's going down, and you need the frequency. You need to gain control of that frequency to transmit your information. Well, there's 2 different priorities. You have a priority. So you got two levels of traffic. Let's put it that way. You got priority traffic, and you have emergency traffic. Now, examples of the 2 priority traffic would be your fire team comes in contact with the enemy, and now they gotta give a contact report. That is priority traffic. An example of emergency traffic would be your fire team is black on AT, which means they don't have an AT stick anymore because they shot it or lost it or whatever the fuck they did with it. And they have BMP-3 Spawn of Satan rolling up on them. That would constitute emergency traffic. Because right now you got a huge threat as the BMP is on their position and they have no AT. And they need to get that emergency traffic through onto their platoon, their squad lead. So, or at that point, you can bypass the squad leader and contact directly to the other fire team leader and tell him what's going on. This time matters. So, the way you would use that pro word would be key up, say break, break, break. You, this is me. Either priority traffic or emergency traffic. Break over. Usually within the first 2 breaks or 3 breaks, both parties that are transmitting on air will shut up and allow you to take over that frequency. So, break, break, break. You, this is me. Either priority traffic or emergency traffic. Break over. That's how you use it. Now make sure you are breaking in for a good reason. Keep that in mind. Don't abuse that power. Now, that is all for pro words. Do y'all have any questions, concerns, or comments with these set of pro words that I've gone over?
No, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
Excellent. Alright. So I'm going to go over 3 frequencies that you're going to need for OSUT. For these next 3 days, 4 days, however you want to look at it. These frequencies are going to be used. First frequency is going to be squad frequency. That frequency is going to be 100. So that frequency allows Alpha Fire Team Leader, Bravo Fire Team Leader, Squad Leader, and squad mic to communicate with each other, period. Those 4 gentlemen or women communicate with each other on that frequency. Next, you have alpha fire team frequency, which is 100.1. That frequency allows just alpha fire team to communicate with each other. So your team lead, AR, Grenadier, Rifleman use that frequency to communicate with each other. The third frequency will be Bravo fire team frequency. That will be 100.2. So those 3 frequencies are going to be used in OSUT. Obviously, those frequencies are subject to change once you get billeted. Once you graduate, get billeted, then each squad, platoon have their own frequencies. But I won't confuse you on that. It's something you will understand once you get billeted. Now, just like the government, you always have continuity. You always got to make sure that there's somebody ready to step up and take charge. So let's say, for an example, your fire team leader goes down. There's a 2 IC or second in charge in that fire team. There's a 3 IC, 4 IC. Heaven forbid that last guy is the only one alive. He still needs to get on radio and communicate with his squad leader. Now keep in mind, the 2 IC, yes, he has squad frequency programmed into his radio. He will not monitor that frequency until his team lead goes down. That's how it is in a unit. That's how it's going to be for the foreseeable future. So we do not monitor the next level up of communication. All the information that's sit in the fire team from the fire team leader, he gets it from the squad leader. So whatever information the rest of the guys in the fire team get, it's going to be from their fire team leader. They're not going to be listening in on squad frequency. No. And that goes for the 2IC. Even though he has squad frequency programmed into his channel, to his radio, he will not set it up so that he can listen to it or monitor it. Just how it is. So that's going to bring us into actually setting up the radio. How to program it, how to get everything tweaked so that it makes your life easier to use that radio. So we're gonna get our radio up on screen so we can program it. So that's going to be Control P, Control Papa. It does not matter what control you use, it will work all the same. So both of y'all have green radio popped up on your screen?
Yes, Sergeant.
Alright. The button top middle will decrease and increase your volume. You left click to decrease, right click to increase. As long as your mouse is hovered over the volume dial of the radio. Next, further down, we have a LCD screen with C1, which is current channel, and a random frequency. All radios, when they get picked up, brand new, will have random frequencies. So C1 is channel 1, and then your frequency is to the right. Down below, the number buttons 1 through 9 do not work on the radio. The CLR button works. That clears out the frequency if you click it. only the frequency that's on the screen. E and T is enter. That will save the frequency once you type it in. If you type it in and don't save it and you change or you exit out, your frequency will go back to the default frequency. You have the plus and minus sign, which is plus next channel and previous channel. That will, if you hit the plus sign, that will bring you up to channel 2, channel 3, as long as you keep clicking it. You hit the negative sign, and it will bring you back down to channels, or 1 channel per click. Next button is the right facing arrow. That is your speaker. Don't ever press that button. It changes the output of sound from your headphones to in-game, so it acts like it's coming out of the radio that you have and on your person. If anybody's ever worked with 2 radios before, when you put 2 radios in close proximity and you start transmitting, you get an awful screeching and feedback. That shit happens here, so make sure you're transmitting or receiving audio through the headset and not speakers for the radio. Left facing arrow is to set an additional channel. That will turn your channel from a C to an A. This is one of the steps that allows us to monitor 2 frequencies at once. That's something that you have to do if you're a team lead or higher, or a squad medic. Last but not least, you have the 0/parentheses key. That is stereo settings. That allows us to change in what ear you hear what frequency. It's a fucking godsend for when you have 2 or more frequencies that you need to monitor. Alright. Let's get started with programming the radio. So I personally teach, and I like to program my team frequency first. The first thing we're going to do is clear out channel 1's frequency. So we're going to hit the CLR button. Now see where it says channel 1, got a blinking cursor. So we got a clean slate to program a frequency in. We're going to program, just for today, for training purposes, we will program in Alpha Fire Team frequency. So the keypad on our keyboard, the number pad, we're going to type in 100.1. We're going to hit the E and T. That will now stop the cursor from blinking. So right now we have channel 1, and we have the frequency 100.1 saved to that channel. Now I want to show you how to monitor 2 frequencies at once. So if you do happen to have to step up, you can not have a problem with that. So let's hit the plus sign on a PRE button. So we're going to go up to channel 2. We're going to cancel out or clear out that frequency, so hit the CLR button. You got channel 2 with a blinking cursor. This will be where we plug in or type in our squad frequency. We're going to type in 100, hit enter, need to save it. So at this point, channel 1 has our team frequency, and channel 2 has our squad frequency. At this point, you can hit the negative sign if you're a 2IC in that fire team. You have channel 2 ready to go. So all you got to do is press a button to be able to monitor it. in class, so I'm going to teach you how to program 2 frequencies so that you can listen to both of them at once. Now, make sure you're still back on channel 2, frequency 100. In order to monitor 2 frequencies, you need to change that C2 to an A2. So we're going to hit the left facing arrow. That C2 is now an A2. So we're now getting into monitoring 2 frequencies. So we want to split up each frequency into different ears. So what I like to do is, before I go back to channel 1, after I turn C2 into an A2, I like to double click the stereo settings. Double click it, you look in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see additional right only. So that means channel 2 or A2, you will hear 100 through your right ear. At that point, you want to hit the negative button, and you want to hit the 0/parentheses key just once. So in the bottom right, you'll see volume, whatever level that's at, left only, and then additional right only. That happened for you 2 gentlemen?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Excellent. Now, breaking up the ears at which you hear frequencies saves you from going crazy in operation, but also trying to figure out who is calling from what frequency. So when you hear shit going off in your left ear, you know, okay, that's everybody in my fire team. When you hear stuff going off in your right ear, you know, okay, that's squad related information.
Can't talk, I'll have to
can
call you
just
back.
hit the escape button. That gets the radio off the screen. Now, to transmit on channel 1, you will hit the caps lock button, and that will transmit information and allow you to hear shit through your left ear. In order to transmit through your alternate or A2 channel, you will depress the T or Tango key, and now you can hear my lovely voice transmitting through your right ear. That happened for everybody?
Yes, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
Alright, what happened?
Not sure. I just didn't hear it.
Alright, put your radio back up on the screen, on your screen.
Yes, Sergeant.
What does the screen on the radio say?
C1 channel 100.1.
Alright, so that's channel 1, but that is a frequency that you gave me. Just keep that in mind. Alright, so hit the plus sign on there.
Okay.
What does that say?
A2 100.
Okay. Hit the left facing arrow. Excuse me, hold on. Now, hit the parentheses until you see right only next to additional.
I see it.
Okay. Now go back to channel 1 and press the parentheses button until you see left only in bigger letters.
Yep,
Right
I
under-
see it.
Alright. So do you hear me coming in through your right ear on this frequency?
I hear you, but you're not necessarily coming through my right ear.
It might be... Does that sound any better?
I might be broken.
I don't see how you heard me through your left ear when I transmitted through team, then, correct?
I heard you through both ears, sir.
Alright. just your left ear right now?
Both ears.
Are you sure you're not hearing me with just direct communication like we are now? Because the way you're set up right now, you shouldn't be hearing me come through both ears.
I might just be hearing you come through direct communication.
Alright, you hear me on this frequency? Should be in your left ear.
You hearing now?
Yeah, I still
this
hear him.
frequency here should be coming in through your right ear.
Right ear? Did you get him on your right ear?
I heard him in direct communication.
Still?
Yeah, I believe my TeamSpeak add-on might be messed up.
It's saying it's loaded properly.
Yeah. Alright, do me a favor, hit caps lock and say something.
Did you hear me, sir?
I didn't hear shit. Hit Tango.
Anything, Sergeant?
Nope. That's weird. Private Ring Rose. Transmit on caps lock.
Any calling station this net?
Yep. Alright. Huh. You are broken somehow. That doesn't make sense because
298, 298.
just talk from me. I want to turn my head, make sure you're.
Okay. What do you want me to say, sir?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, you're in game, so TFAR is working. I don't know why the hell you're not transmitting. Let's look. No, you got the two frequencies saved on your radio, right? Because last time you read them out, you had 0.1 for C1 and you had just 100 for A2, correct?
Yes, Sergeant.
All right. I wonder.
Do you want us to swap radios, see if that works?
Yeah, that's not gonna hurt. Yeah. Stand up and switch radio with your brother over there. Let's see.
Do you want to just drop yours first?
Just on the ground.
Yeah, just dump it on the ground.
Yeah, I'll drop it. There you go.
There you go, there's mine.
Alright. Give us a little.
Any calling station?
Yep. I can hear you. You're all good. Came in my left ear. Try transmitting privately. Okay, I take that as a no then. Yeah, your keybinds somehow are fucked up.
When you're transmitting, is it coming up with the transmitting dialogue in the bottom right hand corner?
Yeah, everything's popping up normally.
Huh. That's even more weird. We're gonna have to fix that later on. We gotta continue with class. Alright. Kinda fucks up the little last part here, but either way, you still need this information. This is a great example on why we do radio checks every time we pick up a new radio. Something like this could happen. He sounds fine in game. His TFAR is working. You know, I hear him in my left ear, right ear when I turn my head. So, who would have thought? You know, he could have picked up a radio, programmed it right, just like it is, and ran off in a battle. And you know, nobody can fucking hear him. So this is a great example. So we do radio checks. Got 3 lines to it. So I'm going to say the first line, say it a few times, and give you time to write it down. I'll say the second line, and etc. So the way you start off a radio check would be you, this is me, radio check, frequency, say for example, 100.1 over. Obviously this can work with any frequency, but I'll put that in for example. So, you, this is me, radio check, frequency, 100.1 over. Say it one more time. You, this is me, radio check, frequency, 100.1 over. That's the first part. Right there, you're requesting a radio check. Next line is the person that you're requesting that radio check from. You will say, you, this is me. I have you loud and clear on frequency 100.1 over. You, this is me. I have you loud and clear on frequency 100.1 over. Say it one more time. You, this is me. I have you loud and clear on frequency 100.1 over. And obviously, the person who started transmission or started a radio check will just end it with, you, this is me, Roger, out. Simple as that. You, this is me, Roger, out. Say it one more time. You, this is me, Roger, out. Y'all got all three lines?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Excellent. Alright. Last thing before I hand it over to Sergeant McCoy. We don't really use phonetic alphabet. If you want to learn it, go for it. Make sure you look at the NATO phonetic. Don't use civilian. Or don't look at civilian. Also, we use numbers. Obviously, 1 through 9 and 0. Because we're going to be giving out, ranges and direction and all that good shit. So, we do not group numbers together, as you can probably tell by everything I've been saying. I've been wording each number separately. We do not group them like 100, 200, 300. It's 300, 400, and so forth. Now, there are 3 numbers that sound a little funky on the radio. So, if you're next to somebody, they can hear you fine. By all means, use and say, well, not use, but say the numbers normally. But if you got important information that needs to be sent right the first time on radio, don't take any chances on it. Use the the phonetic numbers. 3 is said like this. 3 is said like tree. Next one is going to be 5 is said like fife, F-I-F-E. And last but not least, one that everybody knows. 9 is said like Niner. Like I said, you don't have to use phonetic numbers when you're next to people and they can obviously hear you, but if shit's going down, not even on radio, and you're giving out, let's say, a range for an AT shot. You know, we only got 2 AT sticks in a squad, so each shot fucking counts. And it's, 3, 5, 9 meters away. So you should really call it out, kind of stupid example, but 3, 5, 9 or meters. I don't think I've ever had a shot at that range before, but you get the message. Just make sure, obviously, the range is correct to begin with, but also make sure he is or she is getting their correct range from you, vocally. So that will do me for this little bit. I'm going to hand you over to Sergeant McCoy. He'll go over probably the more fascinating part of today. But before I turn it over, y'all have any last minute questions, comments, or concerns of anything I discussed with y'all today?
No, Sergeant.
I've got one just about the radio checks.
Yep, send it.
If we haven't heard anyone talking on the frequency yet, do we check in as any calling station? Because we don't know who's on the net yet?
Yes, yeah. You can go with you can say anybody on this net, or yeah. Anyone on this net, any calling station on this net. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, all good for me then, Sergeant.
Anyone, this is Margiota, radio check, frequency, whatever. Now, if I hate to take up any more time, but it gets to a point here, a good point. Now, if you're in a pre-combat formation, which we do a lot, you know who is there. You got people in front of you, you got the people behind you. You could just free look by pressing left Alt, and using your mouse. So at that point, you really shouldn't be calling for anybody on this station. That's, call it by a name. Hey, Joe, this is Mike, radio check. And, you're within verbal distance, direct communication. You don't say, oh, I don't have my radio set up yet, hold on. But if you're like, what we do sometimes when we're deployed like we are now, we'll get kitted out and we'll run and get to a location to, set up security around the perimeter of our, our base. So we don't have that chance to get into a formation. So not all the time you have that direct communication. So at that point, any station on this net, radio check, and somebody will normally come back with a, Lima Charlie 5x5 or loud and clear. Help, Joe?
Yeah, that's all good. Just wanted clarification.
Excellent. All right. Sergeant McCoy. All yours, brother.
Thank you, Sergeant. Alright, how you guys doing? Hanging in there?
Yeah, all good, Sergeant.
Alright, who was it that was having problems transmitting on the radio?
That was me, Sergeant.
Alright,
well, we got 1,000 Mies in a unit, so that's something to get used to, brother. Just call yourself by your fucking last aiming game. I know it sounds a little weird, but you'll get that shit every time when we're asking for questions or comments after a debrief. Then you say, "Oh, me, Lieutenant," you know, or even worst case, first sergeant hears you. He's like, "Who the fuck's me?" Yeah. So just get in that habit. All right, I'm shutting up.
No, he's absolutely correct. All right, well, we'll figure out what's going on after class here. All right. So now we're going to move on to weapon systems and some of the organic munitions that we use. So we're going to start off with the M4. Does this work? Yes. All right, so the M4 carbine is the standard issue weapon for the U.S. Army. Lightweight gas-operated, air-cooled, magazine-fed, shoulder-fired weapon. Can be fired in either automatic or semi-automatic mode. So the effective range of a point target with an M4 is 500 meters. The effective range of an area target with the M4 is 600 meters. Do either of you happen to know what the difference between a point target and an area target is?
Point target being where you can engage a single target, area being suppressing a single area.
Exactly. Alright, so this weapon system can be used for both. However, engaging beyond 600 meters in any circumstance is a waste of ammunition. So you can also fit this weapon out with different rail attachments, different optics and such. However, for OSUT, you have a default sort of loadout for this weapon, just to teach you some basics. Alright, so that covers the M4. Next we have the M4 with the M320 grenade launcher. The M320 is a lightweight 40mm grenade launcher. Can either operate standalone or in attached configuration. It features a forged aluminum rifled barrel, which allows the operator to accurately engage targets as far as 350 meters away with various types of ammunition. This is an area target weapon system only. Next, we have the M249 SAW or squad automatic weapon. This is the weapon of the automatic rifleman of the fire team. It's also a gas-operated, air-cooled, belt or magazine-fed automatic weapon. Fires from the open bolt position. Maximum rate of fire is 850 rounds per minute. So ammunition feeds into the weapon from a 200-round or 100-round pouch or box containing a disintegrating metallic split-link belt. Only in emergencies can the M249 gunners use a 20 or 30-round Stanag magazine. Using that also will increase the chances of jamming and such. This is an area target only weapon because it only has it has two fire modes. It has fully automatic and safety. Alright, next we have the M240 Bravo. This is a medium machine gun used by the weapons squad, so it's also a belt-fed, air-cooled, and gas-operated fully automatic machine gun, also firing from the open bolt. Big difference here is the M240 is a 7.62 chamber, whereas the 249 is 5.56. So the gun functions automatically as long as it's supplied with ammunition and the trigger is held to the rear. The M240 Bravo machine gun supports the rifleman in both offensive and defensive operations, and it's used to engage targets beyond the range of individual weapons with controlled and accurate fire. The effective area target of a M240 is, correct me if I'm wrong, Sergeant, about 1,200 meters or 1,000 meters. Sergeant Marietta, you there?
Oh, back to sound.
The effective range of the M240 is about 1,200 meters for area target.
Yeah. It's waste ammunition, but it's suppressive target weapon. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I defer to Sergeant Margiat on that because he is a expert at all things that deal with the weapons squad. The M249, however, can engage further than the M4. The maximum effective range of an area target is considered to be 1,000 meters. However, I would note it down as around 800 meters. All Alright, what do we got next here? Next we have the M9 Beretta, standard sidearm. M9s are only carried by the automatic rifleman, the saw gunner, or squad leaders and above. Those are the only people that carry a sidearm. Pretty straightforward. Next we move on to the AT4. So this is an M136 AT4 weapon, loaded with the one we use is loaded with the HP round, so it's high penetration. There are heat variants, which is high explosive anti-tank. The maximum effective range of this weapon, is approximately 350 meters to 400 meters. The rocket will go uninterrupted approximately 2 kilometers, however, that is a waste. This weapon is only used to engage armor pieces, never to be used against infantry or super light armor, say like a BRDM or some sort of light, like a technical or a gun truck. That's just a waste of this weapon system. This can take out anything up to a BMP with an accurate shot. So reserve these for the higher, more priority threats that you would face. This is carried by the rifleman of the fire team. There's one AT4 allowed per squad. The other rifleman would carry the law. All right. If you guys have any questions while I'm going through this, put a C or Q inside chat, and I'll get to it. All right, not shown. Next, we have the M3 Carl Gustav Maus. It is a multi-role anti-armor, anti-tank weapon. It's used by the weapon squad anti-armor teams only. It's an 84mm recoilless rifle. It employs not only heat rounds, but we have HE rounds, which can be used to engage infantry at long ranges. The effective range of a Maus generally can reach out to about 1,000 meters. Next, we have the Close Combat Missile System. These are made primarily to defeat main battle tanks and other sturdy armored combat vehicles. We use the FGM-148 Javelin. It's a fire and forget, shoulder-fired, man-portable close combat missile system. Consists of a reusable M908A1 command launch unit and a single round in the tube. It's a reloadable weapon, so you can carry multiple shots. However, the rockets are quite large, so when the weapon squad does bring a javelin, the amount of rounds that it can employ are significantly less than if they were bringing 2 mods. So the javelin also has 2 fire types. It has a top-down firing mechanism and a direct fire mechanism. It's inherently different than the other shoulder-mounted weapons, where the breach charge will launch the rocket directly out of the tube, and then a secondary charge from the rocket will ignite and launch the rocket to its target. Alright, what else we got here? Alright, so next we're going to go over a couple optics. So let's start with the RCO here. You guys can see this all right? Should be on your screens as well.
Yeah, we've seen it.
All right. So the reason we use this optic, particularly in OSUT, if you look at the chevron at the top, right, you see the upward-facing arrow? That is the 300-meter mark. And if you see the varying degrees of size as you move lower down the center line, correct? With
yes,
the
Sergeant.
number next to it? All right. So the width of these lines are equivalent to the shoulder width of an average military-age male's shoulders. So from shoulder to shoulder, you can use this optic to get an approximate range on a target. So if you land one of those lines within your target, it lines up perfectly, you know that your target is approximately that distance. So say you're looking at a single infantry, you raise it up, and his shoulders fit perfectly within the 6 mark, you know he's approximately 600 meters away. Really good tool to use so you don't have to pull out your vectors to try and get an exact range, so you can have your weapon up and ready to engage at all times. Any questions about how to use this optic to get approximate ranges?
No, sir.
Alright. Next we have the MGO, which is the machine gun optic. Has a similar view. It looks a little different, but the same concept applies with the width of the shoulders of your target. If you use an AR, you'll get the idea pretty easily. And these are used with the M249 and M240s. However, the M240 has a larger optic that it can use as well. We also have EOTech for CQB, close combat optics. This is a holographic in particular with a minimum, I think it's a 2-time magnification.
Negative, it's 0.
This is a 0 one? Okay.
Yeah.
Disregard. Alright, that pretty much covers the basic weapons that we use. Next we'll move on to the, we have stun grenades here. So this is essentially a flashbang. And we also want to make sure that in your loadout you're using the one with the white stripe only. The blue ones are considered deadly. The blast radius is significantly larger. And you might as well be throwing a frag if you use one of those. So we use these to breach buildings where we know there to be enemies inside. Also, when there's civilians in the area, it prevents destruction of property. However, they are dangerous just because, sorry to break immersion, but ArmA being ArmA, if you don't land a flash in the perfect conal view of the enemy, it will not be effective. So even when you use a flash, you need to be very careful when you breach a building because there's a good chance it will have no effect on the enemy.
It's got a better chance of flashing you and your buddies than it does the fucking enemy.
Yep, absolutely. Alright, next. Yep, definitely. Next we have the M67 fragmentation grenade. Pretty self-explanatory. The blast radius of this can hit up to around 30 meters. The lethal range is about 15 to 20 meters. Is that correct? But you can definitely injure anything up to 30 meters, including yourself and other friendlies. Yeah, alright, that's it. 15 meters is the killing radius of this. Yep. Alright, next we'll go into we have a variety of colored smoke grenades. So, just kind of go over the colors real quick here. First off, we use yellow smoke for concealment. The enemy uses white smoke, which is why we use yellow smoke, so that we know the difference between who is throwing smoke for concealment. Again, different colors of smoke can also be used to mark targets, other positions, for friendly positions, landing zones, danger areas such as where demolitions have been placed. So we'll just kind of go over the signal colors of each right now. So green is used to mark friendly positions or landing zones. Red is used only to mark an enemy position. Blue is meant to signify a broken chain of command or lost communications. Only people in higher leadership will generally carry blue smoke. Purple is only carried by medics, and that's to mark a mass casualty area, or MCI. And there's also orange smoke, which is used to mark danger areas or demolition that has been placed by friendlies. So all these throwables are categorized in they're put in 2 different categories. You have lethal and non-lethal. Lethal is basically your flashbangs and your frag grenades. Non-lethal, which is your smoke. Alright, and we'll go over when we get out to the range, we'll go over some of the pro words and stuff to use when employing some of these weapon systems, particularly throwables. Alright, let's see if we got any other nifty slides here. Not really. Alright. So, you got anything to add, Sergeant? Otherwise, I think we're ready to load them up, get out to the range.
No, negative. It's just, get kitted out, rifle
Roger that.
And get out there.
And gentlemen, on your feet. Let's go blow some shit up. Alright. We're going to go to the supply sergeant. You guys are going to both grab a rifleman loadout with an AT4. Let's do it. All right, go ahead and load your rifleman loadout. And after you do that, make sure you go to this box to your right here with the camo net, or the cargo net, excuse me, and grab a set of Vector 2-1 Knights. Those will be your binoculars and rangefinders, and grab a fresh radio as well. So this is what you're going to do every time you grab your loadout. You're going to grab your loadout, then grab a set of Vector 2-1 Knights and a radio. Also make sure your weapons are condition 4, so remove the magazine and make sure the safety is on. When you're ready, join me outside here. Grab myself a loadout too.
What did you want us to grab out of the crate, Sergeant?
A set of Vector 2-1 Knights and another radio. All right, we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sergeant.
All right, let's head over to the course here. Follow me. Take the red flag to Weapons Range Complex. All right, let's see where do we start. Let's go to the grenade range first. All right, go ahead and just take a spot here. Each one of you, one of those spots there. All right, first off, let's make sure we have our earplugs in. You guys both know how to put earplugs in, correct?
Yes, Sergeant.
If not, it's okay. You can speak up. Because it's important that you do have them. Private Lake, you know how to take care of that?
Yes, Sergeant.
All right, so earplugs in. Next, what I want you to do is hit the 6 key on your number row and make sure that you have a smoke grenade selected. Correction.
That's 7.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so the 7 key will cycle through your non-lethal throwables. The 6 key will cycle between your lethal throwables. In recruit class, did you rebind your throw key to use ace throwing?
I do not think so, sir.
Yes, Sergeant.
Alright, well, we're going to do it anyway. Alright, so what I want you to do is hit escape, go to configure and controls, and then under show, you're looking for weapons. Under weapons, you're going to scroll down until you see throw. G is down there by default. I want you to delete that keybind entirely. Just get rid of it. Go ahead and click OK. And make sure you click OK after you delete it, otherwise it will not save. Alright, now go back into configure and controls. Except this time you're going to click on configure add-ons in the bottom right. Once you're in there, you're going to select the add-on Ace Weapons. Now you're going to scroll down to prepare/change throwable. It is shift plus golf by default. You can change that to G, or you can leave it as shift G, whatever you want. This is now going to be your new throw key. There we go, and make sure you click OK again to save it.
So I add on options and then ace weapons.
Yes. Then prepare/change throwable.
All it's given me is a list of boxes. I have laser pointer, check ammo on weapon reload, and persistent weapons. And
Oh, all right. Go back. You went to add-on options instead of configure add-on. Okay, so escape that. Go back to configure and then controls.
All right.
Yeah, and then on the bottom right, configure add-ons from the controls menu. Find it?
Yeah, and I'm looking for throwable.
Yeah, prepare/change throwables.
Alright, I have it set started.
Okay, now we're going to double check, make sure you're on a non-lethal throwable, make sure you have a smoke selected. Go ahead and hit that new throw keybind. Do not throw anything, just hit it. You should see a throwing arc with the option to prime it, cancel, or throw. Is that correct?
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay, good. So go ahead and cancel that. You can use the scroll wheel to adjust your throwing arc, but for now, just make sure it's standard. So go ahead and cancel that. All right, what we're going to do now, we're going to go over the proper procedure of throwing a fragmentation grenade. So there's 3 different callouts for throwing a frag. First is frag out. That tells everyone around you that you're preparing to throw a frag grenade outbound to an enemy position. So before you throw it, you're going to go on yelling and yell frag out, and then everyone in the vicinity that hears it should be echoing that command. So I yell frag out. What do you guys say?
Frag out.
Excellent. So once you hear it echoed, go ahead. You will throw the frag grenade, then you'll hit the deck. The second one is just frag, not frag out. So if you see an enemy throw a frag in your direction, or if there's an incoming frag, you will just yell frag to notify everyone that a frag has been thrown at your position and that everyone needs to disperse and hit the deck. If you hear frag, you're going to sprint about 3 seconds in any direction, preferably away from the frag grenade if you saw where it landed or saw where it was thrown from, and hit the deck with your feet facing toward the frag grenade to minimize any potential damage. Last one is bad frag. Bad frag is used to indicate that you have thrown a bad frag and that people in your vicinity need to clear out, otherwise they're going to get hurt. This is extremely important that you yell bad frag, because if you do not and you throw a bad frag and happen to injure friendlies, that is considered a blue-on-blue incident and you could face a court-martial or NJP. So it is absolutely vital. And it'll happen, I guarantee it'll happen at least once. You'll throw a bad frag. Just fucking own up to it. It's better that you own up to it and take the heat off the bat and sit there silently like a pussy. It's just going to make it worse for everybody. Alright, any questions so far about the procedure of throwing frags?
Yes, Sergeant.
Do you guys have any SOP for with bad frags stating the direction that it was thrown?
If you can, give out as much information as you can quickly so that people can clear the area. But as long as you yell bad frag, people will hear where it's coming from, and most likely it's that you dropped it on your position or you bounced it off a wall and it's close to you, so people are going to run away from where they heard bad frag call. And you should too. And same thing applies, sprint away as fast as you can, hit the deck, try and face away from it to minimize any personal injury. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and throw some frag grenades. So go ahead and hit the 6 key till you have a frag grenade selected. We can go one at a time here, starting with Private Ringrose. Go ahead and call frag out and throw one ready.
Am I aiming for a specific target?
That way.
Yeah, preferably.
Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you, Sergeants. Frag out.
After he throws it, hit the deck.
Frag out.
Twice. Frag out.
Frag out.
There you go. Recover. A little faster on the call out this next time.
My bad, Sergeant.
Alright, go ahead, Private Lake.
Frag out.
Frag out.
pretty straightforward. Now make sure you switch back to your non-lethals. Now what I want you to do is hit the Shift Kilo key or Shift K. Notice a wind speed indicator has popped up on the top left of your screen. Y'all see that?
Yes, Sergeant.
Alright, so when employing smoke for concealment, this is extremely important because the wind is going to dictate which way the smoke goes to conceal your movement. So say I want to conceal this bunker right here, this gun nest. Where do you think I'm going to put this, where do you think I want to place this smoke grenade? There you go. So, Private Ringrose, go ahead and conceal that bunker. Just call smoke out.
No, oh, sorry, smoke out.
Alright, see how it bounced right there? So that, and with the wind blowing to the south, that's going to do dick all.
Yeah, apologies, I pressed the wrong key on my keyboard.
It's alright, it happens, but just know that that's how this works. You always want to take into account where the wind is blowing, how strong it's blowing, because otherwise you're going to end up wasting the finite amount of smoke that you have for concealment. Each trooper only carries about 4, maybe 5 yellow smokes at a time, and they can run out quickly in a prolonged firefight. So make sure you're using them effectively, and especially as team leaders, you want to make sure you're employing them and moving when the smoke is up. Don't let it go to waste. Alright, Private Leg, see if you can conceal that bunker.
Yes, sir. Smoke out.
There you go. A little better. Yep, that'll do it. You see how the first smoke is still going, right? These things last a long, long time. So I mean, you could use one smoke to conceal the movement of maybe 2, an entire assault element, which is 2 squads. Especially if you're coordinated and working together. So use this stuff sparingly, but at the same time, don't not use it at all, because this shit is important. But also remember that it is concealment and not cover. This is not a fucking magical shield so it stops bullets. This will also give away your position. So when you pop smoke and move, you want to use it to reposition somewhere the enemy will not see you. Just making sense to everybody.
Yes, Sergeant.
All right. Excellent. Sergeant Marge, you got anything you want to add about throwables?
Throwables? No, not really. Just, oh. I was kind of brain dead for a second, but just to touch on, I don't know if Sergeant did, but keep in mind the smoke is used to conceal your movement. Try not to blind your other people with smoke. Did you go over that?
Oh, negative. I did not.
Let me get from behind this wall. So when you're using smoke, definitely want to use your Shift Kilo, and be cognizant of where you throw it, because that shit travels, and depending on what you are doing, what your team, what your squad is doing, or even fucking platoon is doing at that time, you could render multiple people combat ineffective just because of the smoke you threw. So keep that in mind. You don't want to, for an example, if one team needs to be a base of fire while the other team needs to move, and you threw the smoke wrong or in a bad place without checking, and the smoke travels across their field of vision, you just screw them over from giving your team cover fire. So now they got to get up and displace and find a new place to set up, which leaves you out hanging dry. So smoke can be helpful and it can be quite harmful. It's fucking frag grenade or stun. It doesn't judge. It fucks over equally. So make sure you use it correctly. That's all I got, Sergeant.
Wise words. All right. I think we're doing on time, Sergeant. Then we can take him to the small arms range.
Show them some rates of fire, and then we can go over the ATs.
Rock and roll. All right, gentlemen, let's move it.
Control C. Well,
Yeah, no, it was just bugging out for a second.
Okay.
Oh, we missed one.
No, we coming.
All right. So you can each take a different lane here if you want. Yeah, lane, you can take this one. I'll stand here. All right. So I'm going to go over just some basic rates of fire. This will combine what we talked about earlier with the 5 basic soldiering skills: shoot and sustain. So as a light infantry unit, we have a finite amount of ammunition we go into combat with. In addition, due to the nature of our patrols or missions, we are often air assaulting in behind enemy lines, and that means that the possibility of us getting a resupply from our aviation element is, well, almost non-existent for the most part. It can happen, but I wouldn't count on it. So that means we have to conserve our ammo. You know, if you think about an operation or mission, can last up to 3 hours, covering multiple kilometers of space and multiple high-intensity firefights. So we're going to go over some different rates of fire here. So for the M4, first you have sustained effective rate of fire. This is for engaging targets at long distances, and it is a single shot every 2 to 3 seconds. And it'll sound a little something like this. So, let me reload here. So this is for engaging targets at far distances, so it sounds like this. Alright, so that is the sustained effective rate of fire. It's the slowest rate of fire, it's the most accurate rate of fire, but to be used at targets at a further distance. Next is going to be rapid fire. This is also in the semi-automatic mode, which is like a double tap. So it's 2 shots every 2 to 3 seconds to be used to engage targets between 3 and 400 meters. So this is something you can engage more accurately with as the threat level increases as enemies approach. So it's a little bit like this. Alright, and you see how I'm getting closer with the targets as I engage with these different firing rates. Alright, lastly is cyclic. Cyclic fire is you switch the weapon to fully automatic and you're firing 3 to 5 round bursts every 2 to 3 seconds. This is only for when enemies are approaching the danger area within 200 meters or closer. It sounds a little like this. Reloading. And make sure when your magazine is dry, you call reloading so the people around you know that they should increase their rate of fire to cover for your weapon system being down. Alright. So that is the rates of fire for the M4. Now the M249 has the exact same rates of fire, but due to the nature of the weapon system being it only is fully automatic, you're never going to fire a single shot with the 249. So sustained effective fire with the 249 is going to be a 3 to 5 round burst every 3 to 5 seconds. Rapid fire is going to be a 5 to 7 round burst or 7 to 10 round burst every 3 to 5 seconds. A cyclic rate of fire with the 249 is going to be a 7 to 10 round burst every 2 seconds. So you're firing off, you're going to be burning through that fucking ammo. Rarely ever are you going to use cyclic rate of fire on the 249. Any questions about rates of fire at this point?
No, sir.
No, Sergeant.
All right. Well, since we're doing pretty good on time, I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes tops. You guys can practice your rates of fire on the range here real quick. So go ahead and lock and load. Range is hot. Let's see. Sergeant Martietta, is that an arsenal back there?
Yes, it is, Sergeant.
Yeah, what's up?
It is, Sergeant.
Alright, Roger. Alright. So during this time as well, I'll let you guys, if you want to go try out the 249, a different weapon system like that, you guys can go grab it and give it a shot to see how it feels, test out your different rates of fire. But so I'll give you guys a little bit of range time here, so knock yourselves out. And if you need us or anything, if you have a question, just let us know. I gotta step off comms for about a mic, and I'll be right back. So range is hot, gentlemen. Have fun.
Reloading.
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 Reloading. Sergeant, am I clear to step off comms for about one mic?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cheers.
Alright, Private Lake, don't be scared of that thing. Round bursts every time.
Even on the long range targets, sir?
Yeah, even on long range targets. That's the minimum amount you're going to get. 3 to 5 rounds. There you go.
this weapon is just used for cover fire, correct, sir?
I mean, it is lethal, you know, and it's meant to engage area targets, not specific individuals, but it is meant as a suppressive weapon. However, you know, don't count out its lethality. You're putting a lot of rounds down range. You can definitely fucking pop some skulls with that thing. Let's hear some cyclic fire with that. There we go. So that's even more. So give me 10 round bursts every 2-3 seconds.
Roger.
There you go. Right now. Do rapid fire. So a little less, 3 to 5. So that's 7 round bursts every 3 to 5 seconds.
Just like that?
Yep.
Reloading.
All right, good shit.
Back on comms.
All right. So we'll give it one or two more minutes here, and then you're gonna have to re-grab your standard rifleman loadouts with AT. Make sure you grab your vectors and radio again.
Roger.
Roger.
Ceasefire. All right, go ahead and re-equip with your standard rifleman loadout. Grab your vectors. And all right. All right, let's head over to the AT range. All right, so let's go ahead and go up to this wall here. Sergeant Marty, do you want to do AT, or you want me to just keep rolling?
Yep, just keep on rolling.
Roger that. All right, gentlemen. So now we get to the fucking big boom boom bada boom shit right here. All right. So what I want you to do first, hit your Bravo key to bring out your vectors. All right. So the employment of the AT4 or any anti-tank weapon is a two-person job. You can have a spotter and a weapon operator. That generally falls to the rifleman, obviously, is the weapon operator, and then you have the whoever his battle buddy is will be the person spotting. So I'll teach you how to do both here real quick. So, with your vectors out, let me make sure I have a pair of vectors. Alright, so if you right click, you look down your vectors, you hit the tab key, that'll give you a bearing. And if you hold the Romeo or R key till you get a red circle and release it, that gives you the range in meters. You can also hit both of them at the same time, and that will give you the bearing and range simultaneously, which is what I highly recommend you get used to doing. So let's take this target right in front of us. This BMP right there. So the proper procedure for callout, you'll pull out your vectors, take a look, find the target. So I see this, I'll say we have a BMP-2 bearing 137, range 106. Now, whoever's operating the weapon will read back that information. They'll say, Roger, eyes on, something that they let the other person know they've acquired the target. Bearing 136, range 106, rocket prepped. At that point, they have the rocket out, they've removed the safety, they are ready to fire. The next job of the spotter is to check behind the person firing the rocket and let them know if their backblast is clear or not. So the weapon operator will say backblast clear, spotter will either say backblast clear or backblast not clear. If it is not clear, the call again will be made to clear backblast. This is not a request, this is a command. Excuse me, and if after the second time that call is given and the backblast is not clear, you are clear to fire anyway. Doesn't matter who's behind it. Could be myself, Sergeant Margiotta, could be the first sergeant. If they do not clear the backblast after the second call, you need to fire that fucking weapon, and we'll deal with that later. So, once the call for backblast clear is given, the weapon operator will call rocket, 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 fire the weapon system, and then they will, as soon as it's fired, you're going to pull out your primary weapon system. You should drop the tube automatically. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Interesting. Alright. Well, anyway, we'll continue. So you want to be prepared to engage any dismounts that come out of the vehicle that you just engaged. Alright, any questions about that so far?
No, Sergeant.
No, sir.
Okay. Just stand by here for a second. Looks like some weird shit's going on. Alright, well, in this case, so now we're going to go over what the shooter does. So go ahead and stand up. You can hit 0 to put 0 on your number row to put away your binoculars. Now you can push the 3 key to bring out your AT4. Now something important to note here is you have to hit the Romeo key to disarm the safety. So go ahead and do that now. So you're basically reloading it. Alright, now you should see an optic that pops up, right? So on your number pad, you hit the / key next to number lock to open up that little peep sight. Gives you a little better view there. And now you can also hit page up and page down will adjust the 0 sight on that weapon system. So say someone gives you a range that's 200 meters. You want to hit page up until that the range on the weapon indicator says 200 meters. You guys see how that's working there? Moves in 50-meter increments.
Yes, Sergeant.
Alright, so if someone gives you a range that's in the middle, you want to use your best judgment, put it to as close as you can to it, With some practice, you'll get used to either shooting high or low. With say it's like 225, that's up to you whether you want to shoot it at 200 or 250. Just depends on how what your preference is. So, and at this point, you would call back, you'd read back the target information, call back blast clear. Your spotter would say back blast clear. You would call rocket, 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 and don't do it now, but then you would fire the weapon. All right, go ahead and holster those. I hit the 0 hit. All right, so at this point, you guys are going to work together. One of you will start as a spotter, one of you will start as a shooter. Go ahead and just get some practice firing off some AT. Well, let's wait a second here for the rest of this stuff to unfuck itself. So just stand by to stand by.
Do you want me to spot first?
No, I can spot first.
Okay.
We good to go, Sergeant?
I think so, Sergeant Smith. Is this
TFAR? What in the world happened?
I don't know either. That was a new one.
I didn't see the screen.
All right. Well, we got a couple targets out there. Yeah, go ahead. Range is hot. We'll see what happens.
All right. So, when I call out the target, do I just give the range and the compass bearing and the range? And then...
That is correct. You want to try and give a description, but at this point, we go over enemy armor in day 3, so we're not going to harp on you for not knowing exactly what it is. But you can just say enemy armor, this bearing, this range.
Okay.
All right.
Enemy armor bearing 126, 95 meters.
Remember not to group important numbers together, so say 95, not 95. I know it's not
Roger.
much different, but just get in the habit of doing that.
Visual armor 126, 95 meters. 95 meters.
Backblast clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
Alright, and then the last part I forgot is the spotter is going to give what's called a BDA, or Battle Damage Assessment. In this case, you can see it was a good hit, target is smoking, and now it's catastrophic. So that would be your Battle Damage Assessment. Like, alright, vehicle is catastrophic and destroyed. You would call that up to your team leader on your radio. Let them know that you're black on AT now. You no longer have any AT. Alright. Alright, good job. Keep it going.
Visual enemy BTR bearing 144, 81 meters.
Eyes on enemy armor bearing 145, 82 meters.
Roger, backblast clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
BDA is going to be 100 over 100.
Good shit. Alright, now makes you, there you go. Alright, so you guys can grab more AT and get some more practice in if you want. We'll try and put some armor down at different ranges here so you can get some more practice. So yeah, have at it. Boxes are right over there. at different ranges. Excellent. Excellent.
Oh,
Uh,
Whoops.
contact flying BMP.
Don't worry about that. I guess that's one other thing to note. As far as what we do in official settings, when you see something that is by default something that happened, just some basic ArmA shit like that,
Ignore it.
just ignore it, or try to think of a way to immersively describe it. You know what I mean? So just try and keep immersion just as much as you can, because that shit will happen, and you just have to deal with it. But we just want to keep our heads in the game. Just roll with it, and just let it ride. All right.
I'll go ahead and be your spotter this time. Visual on enemy armor, bearing 119er, 206 meters.
Visual 119er 206 meters.
Backblast clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
So
I think that hit a bit low.
once it's hit or miss.
So if it's a miss, you would say, just miss, and then any adjustment, it missed high or it missed short, something like that. Not that you could take another shot at it, but just so you know what the adjustment is or how off you were for next time. And
It
if it's
looks
a
like
hit,
it hit it.
yeah.
Yeah, I took a wheel, but I hit low. I hit underneath its chassis.
Yeah, if it's a hit, it might take a second to get a full BDA, because depending on where you hit it, it might not cause the vehicle to go catastrophic. Some vehicles have a reactive armoring, like this BTR here. It's got, you can see those little orange panels on the side. So if you hit those, there's a chance that you could do no damage to it. So you need to be patient with your BDAs, make sure you're giving accurate ones. And also, after you hit it, even if it's smoking, the weapon is still active. So don't just stand up like, oh, I killed it. It's still an active weapon system that is, could actively engage you until it is destroyed. So let's keep all these factors in mind. All right, yeah, you guys are clear to keep fire away. Give you guys about another, maybe 5-10 minutes to blow some shit up.
Contact enemy BTR bearing 147 7 nanometers.
Visual on an enemy armor bearing 147 80 meters.
Backblast is clear. Backblast is still clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
And BDA is 100.
Yeah, so you can give an initial BDA, like, okay, that was a good hit, and it's smoking, but still active, and then give a complete BDA once you're certain the target's destroyed, or if it's still active, or maybe the turret is disabled, but it's still mobile, something like that.
Visual on enemy armor bearing 126 meter, 9 or 8 meters.
Visual 126, 9 or 8 meters.
Back blast clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
BDA smoking. BDA 100.
Enemy BTR bearing 112, range 121.
Visual on enemy armor bearing 113, 120 meters.
So just before you fire, give you an example. Even somewhere around here, backblast is not clear. It's a really wide cone in the rear. So even where I'm standing right now, I could still get hurt by the backblast from that weapon system.
Backblast is clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
Hit. BTR smoking.
Usually at this point, if it was manned, there would be, you would call dismounts because people would be trying to get the fuck out of that thing before it fucking cooked them off like a bunch of fucking fried shrimp.
BDA is 100.
So is all that, are those rounds going off? Did those hit us?
Yes.
I just did get hit by one.
Yep. So, and also depending on the weapon that's on it. So, like, say you engage a BMP that has an autocannon, the cook-off from that is extremely dangerous because you got 20mm autocannon rounds or 30mm autocannon rounds cooking off
I'm good, Sergeant.
from that exploding vehicle. So, just remember that. So, whatever the armament of the vehicle can dictate how dangerous the cook-off is. And the cook-off can go, shit, I've seen it hit people 100 meters away. And it's random, too, so you just got to be really careful. And it can last quite some time depending on how much ammo it has left. So. Alright, you guys want to go for more? Or are you guys good?
I'm good, Sergeant.
Personally, I'm good.
Wrap it up. Alright, let's go ahead and school circle up over here. Just take a knee. Alright, Sergeant Margiotta.
Alright, thank you, Sergeant. Alright, gentlemen, so that was day 1. Day 2 will be this Thursday, same time, same place. We will go over a whole nother set of skills to help your transition into the unit become more smooth. So at this point, myself, Sergeant McCoy, Sergeant Smith, if you need anything pertaining to pretty much anything in the unit at this point, come to us. We like to keep the learning to at least our hands until y'all get billeted. JIP's help with what you learning is correct. I'm not saying everything you will learn out there is wrong, but some of the older guys in a unit pick up bad habits and they transfer that bad habits to other people. So You got any information, anything? Not even have to be questions, but anything you might have directed towards us only at this point in the at this time. You have a question, comment?
Not currently, sir.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. Now, before I dismiss y'all have any last comments, questions, concerns, whatever, before we finish this day off?
None from me, Sergeant.
No, not for me either, Sergeant.
All right. Yep. So just make sure you keep taking good notes for the next 3 days. Ask questions you might have. There's no problem with that. I don't mind answering questions just to clarify stuff. Sergeant Smith, Sergeant McCoy, y'all have anything you like to add?
I got nothing at this time, except I guess really the one thing I can recommend is at this point, since you guys are PV1s, you know, try and fill in for squad trainings, platoon trainings, whatever you can, just to kind of get yourself familiar. Start looking at training times that are suitable to you for when it's time for you to select a billet upon graduation, so you kind of know where to go and just meet people. You know, hop around channels. Don't hop into like the first sergeant's channel or captain's channel, but you see a channel with a bunch of people in it that aren't in game, just hanging out. You know, hop in and say hi. If you're not supposed to be there, most people will just tell you to leave, and it's fine. Don't take offense to it. But you know, there were a community of like-minded individuals, so that's what it's all about here. That's all I got. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you. Sergeant Smith, do you have anything?
Couple things, Sergeant. Just really you guys let you know, as I said, we are your Drake Training Command, so any questions that you have in relation to OSUT, you need to make sure you bring it to us, so I can see anyone else, as the answers they may give you might be misguiding, and then may hinder you in passing the oral quiz, so you guys gotta be careful, stuff like that. Be smart on who you should be asking those questions for, because at the end of the day, we're quizzing you on the things that we told you, not what someone else told you. And then, lastly, on that note, don't be afraid to ask questions, though, because we're here to help you guys make sure that you pass that quiz and pass day 4 overall. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Something else I had noted down that I wanted to say, but I forgot. But that's all.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Smith. All right, gentlemen, good work. Day 1, keep it up, and y'all are dismissed. You'll have a good night.
Oh, actually, one last thing, Sergeant. Private Lake, you got some time?
Oh, yes.
I do, Sergeant.
Alright, let's try and unfuck your radios once you're dismissed here.
And don't steal all the kids' candy tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right,